Alright there, lads and ladettes. I'm going to show you how I made this wargaming terrain, made from scratch with recycled parts and crafting materials. Well, let's get into it. Okay, we're going to start off with some foam core. You want to measure out all the windows, the floor heights, where the pillars and details are going to go. So measure that out carefully, and then you want to make 3 or 4 copies of this. So if you can, make a template. When it's all measured out, you want to cut out the windows and then texture the walls with aluminium foil. Here I am cutting out some strips of 5mm foam core to make the windowsills. Next I am texturing some EVA foam using an aluminium ball which was heated. We are going to use the EVA foam to make the windows, and we're going to cut them into strips of 15, 5 and 2mm. Next I'm going to make the stained glass part using a flowery gothic kind of style box I found. To finish off the stained glass part, we're using coffee stirrers which were cut and then glued into place using white glue and super glue. And that is the basic walls finished. Right, onto the floor. I used more foam core. I cut out it to a shape that I really liked. Then I glued on some texture which I got from a cutting board roll I got at the dollar shop. Okay, now we're going to use this mushroom packaging that has a great texture. We're going to use that to detail the floor. Cut out a section to add the packaging and then keep the material because you can use it for rubble later. Here I covered the bottom of the packaging with some scrap card. Cut out some more rectangles to add some piping detail. Hide the packaging's ugly cuts with the EVA foam. Texture the ceiling with garden or granny grating. For the pipes, I use straws, mosquito net lining and different wires. For further surface details, I used more EVA foam, spray bottle parts and ink cartridge parts. Onto the pillars, I glued together 3 drinking straws and cut up several Yakult bottles. I capped the Yakult bottles with 3/4 and half plastic card discs. The excess I cut away. The walls were put together with hot and PVA glue. and the floor was attached by using toothpicks and more PVA glue. On the outside I used 3cm foam strips for detail, after which I added all the pillar pieces. Now for the surface detail. I made an Imperial skull by moulding a drink cup lid and a skull. I also made lights by moulding a rhino tank piece. In this project I made moulded pieces by using a collection of epoxy putty, plumber's putty, plaster, UV resin and clay. I finished the Imperial skull with wall filler, or spackle for the Americans. On to the mechanical pieces. Here I cut 2 spray bottle necks in half. I filled the caps with scrap card. After which I glued toothpicks to the card to simulate a grate. To hide the fact that they are clearly caps, I wrapped them with strips of EVA. Here you can see one completed piece. This I made by cutting tofu packaging to size and then adding straws and wire pieces. I am hiding the wire ends by using a cut razor cap, and hiding the recycle symbols by using EVA foam. I made more mechanical pieces by using more mushroom packaging. The final mechanical piece was made using a razor cap filled with EVA and juice pack lids cut in half. I made a gothic vent by using a really wide zip tie I found and cut it into an arch. It was completed by using strips of plastic card wrapped around the zip tie. This was later molded. Here I am adding further detail to the lights. It's made of sliced board marker, EVA foam and beads. Now to add parts to the building. I am adding a vent from some food packaging and a cap from a juice cap, a part of a razor head, and added to that some beads and a guitar string. This is part of a container handle filled with straws and wires. Added to that some corrugated pipe, a coffee stirrer cut off and a zip tie cut off. Another razor cap finished with bass string and beads. The nozzle of a bleach bottle made a nice vent, half a juice pack cap and another razor cap. Some corrugated pipes, cut Lego block with small Lego block, ink cartridge internals and a bead. Some shampoo tubes and food packaging. A juice pack neck filled with food packaging. More guitar strings and wire finished with beads. A cut spray bottle trigger mechanism, the other half of a juice pack cap, a super glue cap, zip tie cut off, EVA foam to hide the cap, keyboard key, CD player internal piece, a Lego tab, alcohol pump nozzle with juice pack cap cut off. More juice pack cap halves, corrugated pipe, mosquito net liner, toothpick, wire, and more corrugated pipe. Another razor cap with zip tie cut off and bead. Guitar strings with more beads. Cut clothing peg pieces for support and more zip ties. EVA strips for floor supports and banding for the outside. This is measurements for rhinestone rivets. I'm sorry I lost the footage. As you can see, I am attaching the previously made Gothic vents. Also attaching the previously made lights with guitar string and beads. I'm adding some zip tie banding and some spackle to hide the gaps. Finally, let's add the Imperial skulls to the windows. Now for some damage. Here I used a Dremel to make holes in the Yakult pillars, but a soldering iron is faster and you have more control. The same can be said for the straw pillars. Use a soldering iron. The holes are filled with wall filler or spackle. Now make some homemade texture paint of varnish, paint, glue and baking soda to add texture to the pillars. Use a hobby knife to simulate battle damage and add texture paint. Finally, use a soldering iron to add damage to the EVA foam and hard plastics. Always wear a mask. Right, on to the basing. I use plastic sheeting from the 100 yen shop because it doesn't warp. Glue the building to the base with whatever glue you have. Add polystyrene to make platforms for model playability. Add larger rubble from earlier scraps such as pillars and flooring. Tie it all together with some homemade sculpt-a-mold. Add some scrap grating, some broken plaster, and some mixed sand. Finished! On to the painting. With an aerosol can, first spray it black for shadows, and then spray it grey. Unfortunately, I did the base coats off camera. I painted the windows and banding in copper, as well as the supports, and I painted the mechanical parts in gunmetal. To add some visual interest, paint some cables and wires in different colours. Next, smother the piece in oil wash and wipe away, leaving the recesses. Dry brush in lighter colours until you are happy. Finally, add brown oil paint streaks and Nicola oxide paint for weathering. And that's all she wrote, folks. If I was to paint this again, I would use a bluey grey aerosol spray to add more visual interest, along with some greenish glazes. But if ifs and buts could be nuts. I sincerely hope you could take something away from this video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks very much, and see ya.